What is good, my people? Welcome back to the Nerd Council YouTube channel. My name, as always, is Timmy, and we are going to be talking about Marvel's latest blockbuster phenom, that is Eternals. Now, if you haven't seen the Eternals, please go and watch it before you watch this review. I will try and make this review as spoiler-free as possible, but I cannot guarantee that anything I do say may or may not be considered a spoiler. So if you haven't seen the film, go and see it. But if you want to come and watch this review and want to hear my honest opinions about this film, please stick around until the end. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And you know what? Let me just say this now. The critics got this film so wrong. So wrong. I don't know what was going on with amongst the critics that they decided to slate the film the way they did, but this film is really good. I won't say it's really good, I won't say it's amazing, I won't say it's astounding, but it's a good, solid film. And I don't really understand why the critics slated it the way they did. We're gonna get into all that, honestly, but first and foremost, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so already. Make sure you drop a like and all that good mushy stuff that you normally do when you come to the YouTube channel. Every like and subscription is appreciated, guys, so please, if you haven't done so, please make sure you do that now. But let's get into this. Now, honestly and truly, I went into this film on a blank slate. I disregarded every review I saw, be it positive or negative, and I wanted to just appreciate the fact that this was a Marvel MCU film, like the franchise that I love, and I was like, okay, cool. I want to go into this film, not really knowing what to expect, hoping for something good. And they delivered. The Eternals film is very much a story-driven film. It's not a film where you've got action every five seconds. It's not like Captain America and the Winter Soldier. It's not like Infinity War. It's not like it's not where you haven't got action like every 5 minutes. It's not bow. It's very much a case of Marvel saying, like, we want you guys to know about the Eternals. We want you guys to know about the Celestials. We want you guys to know about the Deviants. We want you guys to understand why the Eternals are the way they are, why they didn't, get involved in the conflicts with Thanos and things like that. This film wasn't about, as people want to call it, introducing Marvel's newest team. It was more about establishing more about the wider Marvel universe, in my opinion. As much as, yes, the Eternals are a team, and it's great to have like another roster of heroes to talk about, this film for me was more about, like, let's tell a story within the Marvel universe, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, about individuals who have lived within this space, in space, for God knows how long. That's how I saw this film. And I feel like once you go into the film understanding that you're not gonna get like some action-packed blockbuster type, fights every 2-3 seconds type of situation, you appreciate it more. They really broke the Marvel formula with this film. This film isn't your traditional, it literally much goes against the Marvel formula. There are moments where you can see the Marvel formula sneaking in and they try to pull the reins back, and I really appreciated that about the film. I just really want to understand why the critics hated this film so much. Is it because it's story-driven? Is it because it's a woman director? Is it because there was a really diverse cast and really diverse story being told in this film? Like, do we hate diversity that much? So the story around the Eternals is this. The Eternals were created by the Celestials to deal with the Deviants. The Deviants are these entities, these beings, these creatures that go around from planet to planet, destroying all life on the planet. The Eternals, their job is to go around and kill the Deviants from planet to planet and move on to the next one. That's their job, that's their role, that's what they do. They all have sick powers. Great. They end up on Earth, decide to stay on Earth for reasons, which you will find out. And it leads to this whole kind of dynamic of, like, why they do what they do, their role as the Eternals, their roles as individuals, what it means to be an individual, what it means to have a purpose, what it means to have faith, what it means to be loyal, what it means to have family, what it means to grow up. All these kind of things are explored within this film in a really good way. And as much as I want to say that I was really drawn to characters, I was drawn to characters. I have some of my characters, like, there are characters that I really did like. I really loved Athena. I can definitely see why Angelina Jolie took up this role, because it's not just a case of, again, Angelina Jolie in an action type role. It's Angelina Jolie embodying a character that's facing internal conflict, and there's some depth to it. I love Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is my guy. Like, I love Gilgamesh. Makari, I love Makari. Icarus. Honestly, like there are a lot of characters in this film that you can get drawn to. But having said that, because of the runtime and because of the type of story that was being told, I don't feel like I had a real connection. Like, I didn't really get the time to actually bond with them as much as I wanted to. I would love to have bonded with these characters more on screen, and for whatever reason, we didn't get that. Maybe they could have made the film a bit longer so we can explore that. But having said that, there were moments in the film where it did lull. There were kind of drops in the film where they were taking the time to tell the story of, you know, and explain things, which I like. I like explanation. I like exposition. I like when a film takes its time to really flesh out a story. And because the film is very story driven, it does a lot. So I can see why people might have a problem with the film in those aspects there, but to each their own. But as a whole, the film works. Even the last third of the film, where you get a lot more of the action and you get a really, really good fight sequence and fight scene from the Eternals. Like, there's some really good fight scenes in this film, and there's some really beautiful cinematography as well. In my opinion, as well. There are some really good moments in this film. Honestly and truly, right? And I just want to understand these critics and why they do what they do. That's it, really. Like, I've seen individuals use the term, you know, woke. You know, the film's woke, and the film is a mismatch of individuals, and, you know, this roster lineup doesn't work because they're all different types of people, and one's deaf, and one's gay, and one's a woman, and one's this, and one's that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, why is that a mismatch? Why is that a negative thing? Why can't a group of people who are so different yet have such a shared history together be, you know, a collective? Like, the Avengers are a mismatch of individuals. Sure, they were introduced slowly one after the other in type of situation, but they're a mismatch of individuals. They're all, you know, different in their own way. But why is it because the differences between these people are, you know, the different types of, like, you know, I'll call them subgroups if you want to call them that, or minority groups that they exist in. Why is that seen as a negative thing? Why are we focusing so much on Faustus's relationship as a gay man? Why are people so upset at the fact that there was a gay kiss, but not upset at the fact that there was a whole sex scene that wasn't even needed in the film? Faustus kissing his husband wasn't some kind of grand gay display of homosexuality that, you know, they wanted to force in. It was showcasing a man leaving his family behind, not knowing whether or not he's going to see them again because of the fate of the world. That's what that scene showed. It could have been anyone. And I'm sure if it was Athena and Cersei that were in that scene, or some kind of female on female type situation, everyone would have loved it and everyone would be going gaga over it. And you know what? I don't really want to get into the whole, like, socio-political thing of, like, you know, gay characters and anything. But I'm just like, I really just want to understand why the critics slated this film the way they did. They proper slated it like it's the worst thing to ever happen in the MCU. And I mean, we've had that Hulk film, we've had that Thor film, we've had that Ant-Man and the Wasp film. We've had some really bad movies in the MCU, like genuinely bad movies, and Eternals is not among them. Eternals can definitely sit among the top 10 of Marvel films. Now, having said that, that's not really like the most challenging feat possible. We've had some very mismatched type films in the MCU, so doing a top 10 isn't necessarily a hard thing, but the Eternals can sit within that top 10 roster easily. They deserve to, and if they don't, if they're not in your top 10, that's fine. But this film is good. It's a good film. Whether you give it like a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, whatever, we, the audience, agree that it's actually a good film. But the critics decided to do this thing where some of the critics hadn't even seen the film before they started to review, but all they saw was diversity and wokeness and wokeisms and all this kind of stuff, and they thought, okay, well, the film must be crap. Or that, you know, because Jack Kirby created the Eternals way back when, that the Eternals are, you know, unknown characters that no one really cares about, so why make a film about them? And why get Chloe Zhao to direct the film when no one really cares about these characters, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, superheroes are only made in the past to kind of combat Nazism and everything else, and blah, blah, blah. All these kind of whack excuses, all these kind of BS excuses. And I'm just like, who cares? Who cares? Like, if you're gonna take the example of like unknown characters, look at the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians of the Galaxy were relatively unknown, yet we all now know things about Groot and Rocket and Gamora and Drax and Star-Lord. These have become household names. Now, having said that, I'm not saying that the Eternals are necessarily going to become household names the same way the Guardians of the Galaxy would be. But the Celestials, absolutely. I can see the Celestials becoming more well-known. People want to know more about the Celestials because of what they've done in this film. I'm just really trying to understand these critics and why they do what they do. And I feel also like the part of the problem is because you've got such a diverse roster of people within this film, but you don't have a diverse roster of people reviewing the film, you only get this one narrow viewing of the film from these people. Listen, what I'm saying is Eternals is worth the watch. It's absolutely worth the watch. It doesn't deserve the saying it's getting. That's it. And of course, they mention and address why they weren't, involved with the whole Thanos conflict, and why they, weren't always around, and why they weren't, dealing with Chitauri when they invaded New York, or, over Sokovia when, all the Ultron drones are doing what they're doing. Like, they explained that. No, so I am actually going to address this. So basically, the Eternals were sent by the Celestial Arishem, and their one job is to deal with deviants. They're not supposed to get involved with the dealings or the conflicts or the wars on any given planet. So that goes for Earth. The Eternals are supposed to be loyal, and they have faith and belief in Arishem and in Arishem's will, and in anything, Arishem says as what they should do, that's what they do. It's not about they question it, they don't question it. It's like Arishem is God to them. Arishem is a God, he might as well be one. He's a celestial. He's an unencompassing being, right? So the Eternals would not go against the will of Arishem. So if Arishem says, you cannot get involved in the conflicts of this planet, you cannot get involved in the conflicts of the planet, period. You can't. That's not what you're there for. And the leader of the Eternals, Ajax, drums us into them like, we're not supposed to get involved. The Eternals have the power to deal with any kind of conflict. They could have stopped, slavery. They could have stopped World War I, II, and if also World War III. They could have stopped so many conflicts. Like, any conflict you can think that occurred on Earth, the Eternals could have been there to stop it, because they've been there since the beginning, since way from the beginning. But because they have this, faith in Arishem and faith in their duty that they're not supposed to get involved, it causes this conflict amongst the group. It causes this struggle amongst many of the Eternals who come to call Earth home, where it's like, why can't we get involved? Why shouldn't we get involved? Does us getting involved hinder the development of humans, of man? We have the power to stop this conflict and this war and that battle and this battle. Should we not get involved? And I liked seeing that conflict. I like seeing that internal moral struggle, because there is something about having faith and a belief system and having to break away from that belief system because of a new belief in what is right and wrong. And this film tells that story in a really good way, and you see what this kind of internal conflict leads to amongst the Eternals. And I'm just gonna say again, I don't get what the critics hated about this film. I really just don't get it. And I feel like they're just nitpicking at the fact that it wasn't some kind of go-to Marvel formula type film. And like, why is that a problem? Are we gonna, like, I love the MCU. I absolutely love the MCU. I absolutely love Marvel. I absolutely love Marvel comics. I love Marvel characters. Like, they have been a part of me since I was like 4 or 5 years old, right? So we're talking 20 plus years for me here, right? So my view, my opinion might be a bit skewed. It might be a bit, my opinion might be a bit biased when it comes to the MCU. And do you know what? That's fine. I'll accept that. But I can step back at times and be neutrally, I can neutrally review something because it's Marvel related. I don't have to go into, I'm not even fan mode at the moment. When I go into fan mode about the Eternals, you'll know I go about fan mode about the Eternals. I'm not even in fan mode. I'm just being a really honest review about this film. So I just want to really understand why these critics select the film the way they did. It's just like the reviews are just so bad and so negative. And it's like, I really thought we were gonna get this kind of like clusterfuck, is the only word I can use, of a film, and it's not that. Is it? I'm just here sitting like, is it a diversity thing? Like, do we hate diversity that much that any kind of form of diversity or as you know, some people want to call it, the wokeism gets put into film, it's now an issue. Anyway, all I'll say is this. Go and see the Eternals for yourself. Make your own judgments about this film. Fuck the critics. Fuck reviewers. In fact, fuck me. Like, really and truly. I'm sorry. I'm not one to swear a lot on YouTube, but fuck me. Like, even my opinion. Fuck my opinion. Go and see the film for yourself. Make your own judgments, right? Because at the end of the day, people like me and people like others who review films and review stuff, it's only our opinion. We're not, like, I'm not Jack Kirby. I'm not Stan Lee. I'm not Marvel CEO, right? I'm not the Marvel God. I'm not the be all and end all when it comes to this type of thing. I'm just someone with an opinion. So you're better off forming your own opinions after seeing the goddamn thing. Just see the film. That's all I'm saying to people. Go and see the film, make your own judgments, and then come back and let's talk. Let's chop it up. Let's discuss the film in detail. If you hate the film, fine. I can accept when someone hates a film. You don't have to like every film. I can absolutely accept it, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about why you hated the film. Let's actually get into the nitty gritty of it all. Why did you dislike the film? Or why did you love it? That's all I really want to know. Like a lot of, like I said, a lot of the reviewers didn't even see the film before they started hating on it. And I hate stuff like that. It really grinds my gears. How do you hate on something so much when you haven't even seen it? Or you haven't played it? Or you haven't watched it? Or you haven't read it? Because of what? Because of some wokeism? Nah. Guys, honestly, if you're watching this video, please just go and watch the film for yourself. And then go into the ether and just discuss it. Form your own opinions. Fuck reviewers, fuck critics, fuck everyone. Just go and see the film. If you loved it, great. We can chop it up. If you hated it, fine. We can still chop it up. But just see the film for yourself. And that's all the time I have, honestly, for this thing. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments below, honestly, about what you thought about the Eternals if you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, are you excited about seeing it? Do you know, are you swayed by the critics? If you're swayed by critics, fine. But like, leave a comment below. Leave a comment below if you are. But I'll be back with more content soon. So until next time, people, please make sure you're subscribed. And much love. Peace out.